Hello YouTube, this is Froogle, and this is the Airfoil Labs C172 for X-Plane. This is a very interesting, or potentially interesting aircraft, and this is really going to be my first impressions videos on it. I'm actually sitting here doing nothing, waiting for it to do something. Every time I've loaded this before, it starts speaking to me. Hopefully it does that in a minute. But the thing that is interesting about this is Airfoil Labs is saying that it's a study aircraft. So in the same vein, and it's going to be very hard not to draw comparisons here, but in the same vein as A2A's 172's trainer is a study aircraft based on the Cessna 172, this is also a study aircraft. And it has a lot in common with the A2A simulations thing. For example, look, I'm walking around. It has a full built-in walkaround system. So you can go ahead and interact with this aircraft and pre-flight it. So let's go over the other side and I'll show you what I mean. It's a little bit awkward. I'm actually steering this with the yoke right now, which is a little strange, but it's a nice touch. I gotta say, it's a nice touch. So for example, let's go and remove these tie downs here. Let's get rid of that one. Let's get rid of these chocks. Cool. Now there is supposed to be a way where you can click on these and step up on the wing and refuel it, but I've not managed to get that working. Let's remove this tie down at the back here. Oh, I'm only removing one at a time. Look, it's that accurate. So just like in the real world, you wouldn't just press a button and automatically remove all the tie downs. Same thing in this. There is a button that you can press to remove them, but it kind of wants you to step around and do them one by one. Let's remove the pitot heat cover. Pretty cool, right? Let's go over here. Let's walk a little faster. It's hard to walk with a yoke. I do like what they've done here, and that's kind of be a theme actually with this entire first impressions. Is I like what they've done. There are flashes of greatness in this product, and there are also a number of oddities. So for example, that walk around, it would have been better to do that with the keyboard and the mouse, to be honest, but it is what it is. So I can grab the aileron here. I can check it out. Pretty cool. I can rotate to the back and grab the elevator and do the same thing. Yeah, that's all working lovely. Let's check the tail. So and again, I like what they're doing, I like where they're going. Flashes of greatness, but they're not quite there in some respects. For example, on the A2A version of this, and I've got to draw that comparison because what they're trying to do here is obviously influenced by A2A. You'll see in a minute. There's so many things in this which are, if A2A had done an aircraft, they would have done that for X-Plane. But you can't check the linkages in here, for example. So it would be nice if you're going to do a study aircraft and have this full walk around in here for it to be more than just, look, I can wiggle bits and I can check fluids and things. It would be nice to actually check those linkages for wear and tear, to check the tires, to check the tread and all that good stuff. Why can't I get up on the wing? Seriously, it says in various places that clicking on those steps would put me up on the wing to do the refueling. But even so, let's walk around the back here. And it does sound very much like my pilot here is wearing high-heeled shoes. It does. Every time I've flown a Cessna, I tend to be wearing, depending on which part of the world you're from, trainers or sneakers. No, this chap or chapess is definitely wearing Prada. Okay, let's open the back here. All these lovely things are animated and work as they should, which is fabulous. I think I can open the door. Yep. Good animations. Everything is animated exactly as it should be. Good luck trying to... Whoa, what did I... Whoa, whoa! Oh, I just took the engine apart. Oh my god. Hang on. This is an expensive first impressions. Apparently, my Prada-wearing pilot is carrying a multi-tool and just zipped off the engine cover. Okay, great. Now what? I haven't done this before. It is a first impressions. Oh, no, don't take it apart even more. Now, we gotta go flying. Let's put it back. Wow. Okay, good. Excellent. Please. So the engine cover, obviously, on a Cessna 172 is held on by a single screw, which can be easily removed during the pre-flight inspection. Now, if I click on let's close this door. That's how you close it. If I click on this front wheel strut down here, I can actually tow the aircraft. Watch. I whip out of my back pocket a handy towing brace, and then I can just drag the aircraft around the field. Oh, it's a little heavy, but it does work. That's a neat touch. Flashes of greatness. Flashes of greatness. Anyway, See all these little overlays on the left here? They access all the useful stuff. Like I can secure the aircraft, resecure it. I can desecure it. No, I can't. Prepare for start. Maybe. That worked. Removes everything there. I've got cameras here. So left wing views, all the various views. Right wing, tail, front. Go outside is the walk around that we were just doing. Passenger, co-pilot. I can look at the fuel tanks, switch in the cockpit, the radio panel, pilot view, flying, and so on and so on. Let's go to the next one because I'm trying to find something here. Okay, payload and fuel. Obviously, just like, here's a comparison again, just like in the A2A aircraft, I can set the passengers, the pilot, the co-pilot, their weights, how much baggages I'm carrying. Interestingly as well, because it's supposed to be a study sim, it does affect the flight dynamics of the aircraft. More weight makes the aircraft a little bit trickier to manage, and you can shift the center of gravity of that baggage and payload as well, which dramatically changes how the aircraft handles. Change the oil quantity here, currently we're 75%, 84% on the fuel, because I have been zipping around all morning in this. Settings. Now this is the bit I was looking for. Settings. Smart camera. GFX. Simulated walk. Dynamic view. Now I have got GFX on. You're going to see how they work. I'm not using Track IR today because I want to show you the GFX. I've turned off, however, dynamic view. What I found with that is when you take off, your virtual pilot, you basically starts looking left and right. You'll be flying along, he'll just take a look to the left, take a look to the right, which is correct. You should be doing that in a VFR aircraft. You should be looking around and being aware of your surroundings. It does take a little while to do it though. It takes 1 or 2 seconds to look left, 1 or 2 seconds to come back to the center, and I'm fairly sure most pilots glance left and right rather than just slowly turn their head. But anyway, I don't know what display footer panel is. Oh, look at that. We got a handy overlay down the bottom. Noob mode. What is my airspeed? What is my altitude? And so on and so on. We'll turn that off. But that's a neat feature. Haven't seen that in an X-plane aircraft. What else have we got? The E button. Oh, this is coming soon. So again, flashes of A2A, flashes of greatness, a full service panel for servicing your aircraft and letting it age in that A2A way. But this isn't A2A. This is Airsim Labs. I think that's who you... Airfoil Labs. Airsim Labs, Airfoil Labs. Anyway, let us jump in. I am in Sanford, Orlando Sanford, which is, many of you know, my home airport. So I'm going to get this actually ready to go. Now, before I do that, I have had some issues with the controls on this, in that they were ridiculously sensitive. So if you're using a joystick or a CH yoke or a Cytec yoke or something like that, which are naturally quite sensitive controls, you might find this thing pirouetting all over the sky in a somewhat crazy fashion. I actually went through 3 yokes to get this review video done. I started off with my Cytec yoke, and I love my Cytec yoke, but it was just way too sensitive. I went to the GoFlight yoke, and that was a little bit better. Now I'm on the Yoko the yoke, the Virtual Fly Yoko the yoke, with a GoFlight throttle quadrant and Cytec pedals. That seems to be the best combination for me, but I have had to tune my... where is my joysticks? Here we go. Had to tune the axes on these. Look at these. Everything is full left. I had to shove everything completely full to the left, and it feels pretty realistic like that. But that's again with Yoko the Yoke's, Virtual Fly's Yoko the Yoke, which is an incredibly realistic yoke. Anyway, your mileage might vary, but be aware if you're flying with a cheaper, more normal controller set than I am, you're probably going to find this feels a little strange, because it really does. You're going to need to play with those joystick null zones to get this thing working. Here's the cockpit, obviously. I don't know why my view keys are not working. Good, they're completely not working, so I'm not going to touch those. But it's pretty good, it's pretty detailed. You can see here, they've done a very good job of modeling this, and as you saw outside on the walk around, it's the attention to detail on the modeling is very good. I think my pilot is a little bit high up in the cockpit. I would like my head to be really down a little bit, and because of the dynamic view system, I've had a lot of trouble moving my head, but you get used to it. It just, the first couple of flights for me were a little strange. It felt like I shouldn't be sitting where I'm sitting. Anyway, because it's a study aircraft, it works exactly as a Cessna 172 should, kinda. I found some quirks with starting it up, and I'll show you here right now. So we're going to turn the master switches on. A little bit of noise there. We're going to turn the beacon on. We are going to turn the fuel pump on. Watch the fuel flow. Nothing yet. Mixture rich. Nothing yet. I would have expected to see some fuel flow at that point, but no, I need to increase the throttle. And now it's actually not going to do it. Last time I tried this out, I ended up having to move the throttle and the mixture, and then I saw fuel flow. Now it's not doing it. Don't know why, but we'll say that's primed. All good. Oh, by the way, the aircraft does preserve its state, so as you finish a flight and log off, you need to turn everything off, otherwise when you come back in, everything's still turned on. I don't know what that does right now, but I'm sure when the maintenance panel comes along, it's going to play into that. Let's see if we can start this up. Now, this is another little quirk. You know, it's getting there, flashes of greatness. I can see this thing being really good at some point in the future, and they have said that they're going to be extending this, maintaining this, patching this, supporting this, which is fabulous news. Right now it's a little quirky. So, starting a Cessna 172, one of the ways you could do it, you crack the throttle like that, and then turn the magneto switch to start and increase the mixture. Watch. Nothing. What I found it wants me to do, which feels ever so strange, is make sure the parking brake's on, which it currently is, and then turn the switch to both mags and give it full throttle. Now it's not going to even do that. Come on, you beast! Did I break it already? Fuel's on. There's no reason for it not to be doing this. Let's go mixture rich. Notice the battery's not wearing down. The lights are right. Oil pressure, left vacuum, right vacuum. They're all good. Alright, so it's reloaded. Obviously it's picked up that my yoke was moving a little bit.
Welcome to Airfoil Labs,
there's the tutorial.
The most realistic and immersive simulation of the Cessna 172. If you wish not to hear this introductory tutorial next time, please go to the menu on the left side, click on the S in the sound section, and uncheck Intro Tutorial. For this simulation, you will ideally need a control device, such as a yoke or joystick, to enjoy the full spectrum of features and functionality. If you are using our 172 for the first time, you are located outside, but do not worry, you are able to walk as you would be able to in real life. Actually, all features of the simulation are developed as close as possible to real-life movements and intuitive actions. It is very simple. Just use your pitch and roll controls for walking and exploring the aircraft from the outside. You can use your mouse to look around and the mouse wheel to zoom. You can also interactively touch specific aircraft parts to perform the pre-flight check, load baggage, tie or untie the aircraft, check the engine oil, fuel, or manually tow. Just look for an aircraft part where the mouse cursor changes to a pointer and explore the animated features. For example, you can click on the step in the front part of the fuselage and you will climb on the wing to refuel. If you want to tow the aircraft, just click on the strut of the front wheel and see what happens. Then use your controller to move the aircraft. To enter the aircraft, you just have to simply open the door and click on the seat area. To exit the aircraft, look for the step on the main wheel strut and click on it. This should help you get along with the basic aspects of our 172. Enjoy the realistic experience and don't forget to check for updates as we are continually developing new features on our 172. Have a good flight.
So there's the intro I was talking about, and as you can see, some stuff just doesn't work right now. I'm sure a patch is going to come along later on, but right now, open the door and click on the seating area does not work, for example. Clicking on the step to get up and check the fuel, as far as I could see, does not work. Great. Now I can only assume that I broke the aircraft by taking the engine apart previously, so reloading it hopefully has fixed that. Let's go to these camera overlays here. Let's jump back into the cockpit. And let's try once again to get this aircraft started. Fingers crossed. Up, up. Fuel pump. Just priming the engine. Still not seeing that fuel flow needle move, which is a little concerning. Check my fuel flow. We're on both tanks. Sorry, my fuel tank switch. Here we go. Nothing. absolutely nothing. I have no idea what is going on right now. Okay, you know what? Let's try the cheat button. Let's go on over here and say, not that one, that one. Auto start. We'll do the auto start. So the brake is on. We are cold and dark. There we go. I'm going to put the brake back on. And we are going to go auto start. Notice he's gone mixture rich. Throttle is way more than cracked. Fuel pump was on. It started! We can continue the video. Excellent. Leaning it a bit. Setting up all the switches. That's a neat feature, isn't it? Auto start runs through everything for you. Great. Okay, sorry about that, chaps. Let me show you taxi. This is where the control sensitivity issues are going to come into play. I'm going to wait for everything to rise up. Actually, everything rose up very, very quickly. We're in the green on everything. Which, again, I don't think is totally realistic. You'd normally sit on the tarmac for a minute or two running the engine. But okay. I'm going to pull my throttle out a little bit. So what has he done with my lights here? My taxi lights are on, my nav lights are on, my beacon is on, fuel pump is off. Avionics is on. Okay, so I'm going to release the brake. Now, I tweaked and tweaked and tweaked my controls. And one thing I could not tweak out was the sensitivity of the brakes. Check this out. I am just going to gently, gently, gently touch the brake. Whoa! My guy nearly smashed his nose on the dashboard there. Just gently, gently touching the brakes. That's a bit odd. And also, you can already see it's very twitchy on the rudders. And I tried different rudders for this. I tried switching to the GoFlight professional rudders, and they were great for taxiing. They actually really made a huge difference taxiing. It was a much, much smoother taxi. My challenge there became, whoa, on the run up. Sorry, I went a little bit too far here. Let me see if I can find where I'm supposed to be. Actually, I'm completely lost. My challenge was on the runway, lined up, powering up. The aircraft wanted to massively veer to the side, and I could not deflect the mighty GoFlight rudder pedals far enough to get me back on track, which was a little awkward. Anyway, so back with the Cytec ones, which are easier to move, easier to deflect, and ridiculously sensitive in this aircraft. Now, I had reloaded this, I thought, at starport, which means I knew where I was, but something's happened along the way of resets and restarts trying to get the aircraft to run, and now I don't know where I am. So we're just going to drive around Sanford for a bit, do a bit of shopping. Trying to find a runway that works. I wanted runway 27 if possible. And I am using, I think, default scenery here. So it's not obvious, you know, X-plane defaults being very, very flat and sparse. Where am I? Where the heck am I? Bravo. Okay, Bravo is correct. And I'm facing west, so I should be parallel to runway. What is this? This would be runway 9 left, 27 right. Great! Now, which end of the runway? Okay, so we're going to take off the wrong way, but that's fine. It's a fairly easy day here in Sanford, not much wind. We can actually take either runway. We're going to take runway 9 today. I have to remember to come back on runway 9. I'm not going to do the run-up check. It does work. You can go onto mag left, mag right, and it works as it should. Okay, so 24 minutes into the video already, and we haven't even taken off, and it's just a Cessna. Oops. Okay, I could not bind a flaps lever, and it would not, well, I could, but it wouldn't work correctly. So we're going to use the flaps switch here. Find the click spot that points down. I hate that. No scroll wheel support for the controls in this aircraft. Landing lights now can go on. Strobes can go on. Fuel pump can go on. By the way, here's another little homage to A2A. Click down here and you get a filter on the sound. It's actually a very good filter as well. The Dream Engine sound system that's being used here. Okay, so I'm going to power up. Throttle up. Now I know Cessnas do pull in the real world, but I don't remember them pulling this much. Actually, right now it's being okay. The last flight I did, I had almost full rudder in, trying to keep it in a straight line. You know what I haven't done? I did not check my trim, and I know for a fact if the trim is not set on this aircraft, you die. Hang on a second. Oh, the trim is set. And there we go again. Aircraft all over the place. Not cool. Okay. Lots of power. We can do this now. They're very amateur. I didn't run my checklist. I didn't check on my trims. I know. It's a first impressions. I really want to show you the aircraft more than... What is going on? Why are we not accelerating? Oh, because it thought my brakes were down. And we're up. Very strange. I'm going to trim this now. Trim it for climbing, around about 70-80 knots. And as that speed comes up, I'm going to look down here, find the click spot, I hate that, and bring the flaps up. Now that is the trim. The trim is a little odd. I think that's a concession to gaming. Most people do not have a trim wheel, and I'm not using mine right now. So it's a little bit violent with the trim. See if we can get this thing in a good spot, which I think I've got it. So fuel pump off now, landing lights off. We're heading out to the east, so we will turn left and head to the north. And show you the fly of this. Now it actually flies very well indeed. It does feel pretty fluid once you have your controls dialed in, or have chosen an appropriate set of controls, in my case. It does feel very good. And the other thing I like, although I turned off the dynamic pilot head thing where he starts looking around randomly on his own, I do have the GFX on, and that means that as I do stuff like this, look, you see he naturally looks a little bit to the left there. If I pull up here, his eye point will change slightly as well, based on G. That's actually very convincing, especially if you hit turbulence. You see the view quite dramatically change when that happens. There we go. Turn to the left now, so we're heading just to the east of Lake Monroe, which is where they dump all the alligators that they find in people's backyards. Actually went fishing there the other day in my kayak, and not going to do that again. The place is a little bit scary. Anyway, we'll climb on out. I'm going to try to get it up to about 3,000 feet. I want to show you the stall. They claim to have realistic stall. No, they don't. But I'll show you that. Now I should say, by the way, I bought this when I heard that there was a study level Cessna out for the for X-Plane. I jumped on that and bought it. I thought that would be the coolest thing ever. And as I keep on saying, there are flashes of greatness. There are glimpses of what this could be in the product, and the fact that Airfoil Labs have said they are going to continue supporting it, extending it, patching it, I have high hopes. I really have high hopes. I think right now though it feels a little bit like a beta release. That's not to say don't buy it. I bought it. I don't have buyer's remorse. It was $35 and even in its current shape it does feel like the best Cessna I think I've ever flown in X-Plane. It's just they need to finish it. They really do. I wonder if the parking brake was on. No. I'm just trying to figure out why it was so hesitant on the takeoff roll. Okay, gonna reduce the power. We'll level off here. I'm going to show you the stall. So, I'm going to nose up. Stall on a Cessna, as many of you know, you'll get the stall warning go off, then the nose will just drop and you'll end up pointing at the ground. It's a pretty placid stall. Here's the stall in the Airfoil Labs version. So I'm pulling back the yoke now. It's the yoke, so a huge amount of pull before I can really get it back. And that would be a spin. That is not a stall. Now the other issue I had when I tried this before is I actually didn't want to stall. It was very much like a Cherokee. It just kind of hung in the air with a completely stalled wing, which was not pleasant at all. So they've got a little bit of work to do there. It does spin very well. If I were to feed in more rudder there, I'm sure I could get a full spin out of it. In fact, let's try that. Put a bit of power in here. In fact, you know what? Let's try to stall again, but this time we'll go full power off stall. There we go. So throttle to idle, mixture rich, pulling back, pulling back, pulling back. Not turning the yoke, not turning the throttle, the rudders. There we go. That's what I was saying about before. So okay, power on stall, it goes into a spin. Power off, it behaves like a Cherokee. You see this? We are completely stalled and level. That is not correct, as far as I'm aware. I'm not a certified pilot, but I have flown Cessna 172s. That's not correct. You can live with stuff like that, though. It's okay. I'm sure they'll fix that. There are enough Cessna pilots in the world flying X-Plane to provide Airfoil Labs with great feedback, I think, about what would be wrong. You know what? Let's try and do a little spin here. Get full power. Get some altitude. There we are. So we're going to nose up until we start to stall. Here, going to hold it right about there. We'll try and do a proper spin now. As we stall, pulling back. Now, full right rudder. There we go. It's a pretty good spin. It's not totally convincing as spins go, although I am fully disoriented now and don't know where I am. I'm heading the wrong way. There's the runway I want. That away, so we'll turn around. See that dynamic head movement stuff coming in? I actually do like that a lot. Haven't tried this with track IR yet. I think I want to. Let's just complete this circuit. Going to get down to pattern altitude of 1500 feet and we'll go ahead and land. We'll wrap up this little first impressions video set. I don't know how many videos it's going to be. I'm at 30 minutes in. It might end up being 2 videos. I find myself conflicted with this. As I said, it is probably the best Cessna 172 I've ever flown in X-Plane. But some things are just wrong. Some things are just odd. We know some things are missing or incomplete because you already saw that maintenance panel is just not there yet. So my hope is that over the coming months we'll see a number of improvements, updates, patches and tweaks and fixes to make this as great as it really should be. And I think Airfoil Labs have the ability on their team to make it as great as it should be. Let's get down here, turn our landing lights back on. We'll leave the fuel pumps off for now. There are some other interesting little quirks on this as well. For example, no scroll wheel support on the knobs, but you can click and hold. So if I wanted to change this heading bug, I would just do that. Pretty good. Also notice the autopilot doesn't, a lot of autopilots in light aircraft, in sims, tend to play with trims. This doesn't. It actually uses the control surfaces. So if you use the autopilot and set a new heading, for example, it will turn the yoke, which is correct, rather than just trimming the rudder. So some nice stuff like that going on as well. I would imagine at this stage, without the maintenance panel, that there is no failures simulated, no wear and tear. But I would imagine that over time that's going to be introduced as well. I guess the question really is, should you go buy this now? And that's really up to you. I like flying X-Plane. I like flying GA aircraft. This is a nice GA aircraft. This is better than Coronado Cessnas, better than Alabeos for sure. And once they finish it up, I think it's going to be amazing. Where am I at? This is the challenge, not using track IR. It's very hard to gauge anything. Beautiful morning. Or is it afternoon? Oh, it's early afternoon. Here in Sanford. Okay, so we're going to start our turnaround. We are in the white arc now. I'm going to put out the first stage of flaps as we do this. Find the click spot. There it is. Nice response as the flaps come down. Although it's hard to recenter your view because of that dynamic view system. If I recenter my view now, it will be wrong because we are turning and the view system is having me look to the left. There we go. Let's put my view right about there. Keep on descending. Try to find a runway, which I think is behind this strut here. Yeah, there it is. Keep on bringing this down to about 1,000 feet. Now landing this, it feels like a Cessna. It actually feels exactly like it should on landing. It's not heavy, but a little bit wallowy. It does want to float because of that high wing, but it is very easy to land. One thing I don't like about the landing in this version of it is the sound. It feels like cartoon punches. You know, like Bugs Bunny just smacked the other guy in the head kind of thing. You'll see that. If you put the headphone attenuation stuff on, then it's not so bad. But overall, it just feels a little bit comical. You can see here, we're nice and stable, speed's good, very stable descent, very easy aircraft to manage once you get the hang of it. There's that view kicking in as we start to turn, which is actually very, very useful at this point. Now this is not going to be so useful. I'm going to drop the next stage of flaps. Quite a lot of balloon there, and then because of the savage trim performance, it's very hard to fix that appropriately. Notice the speed coming down to the point of almost stalling. But again, it's a sim, not a real aircraft. Some concessions have to be made, and it is something you can get used to. Alright, a little bit low right now. Let's put some power back in here. Ease our descent. There we go. Now we're perfect. 2 reds, 2 whites. Bit of a crosswind today. Not unusual here in Sanford. You can see the aircraft is moving in the breeze. Now, again, the control sensitivity, I'm using Virtual Fly's Yoke of the Yoke, which is a fabulous piece of kit, and I am barely moving it. I'm holding it between my fingertips. I'm gently nudging it from side to side, and the aircraft is responding. So if I had a much more sensitive yoke, and sensitive meaning it has less travel, which most of the yokes on the market do, they tend to limit the travel, forwards, backwards, left and right, then I think I would be all over the place at this point and not having a good experience. Watching the speed, it was coming down a bit too low, more power. Marker. Easing up on the power. I'm not going to go full flaps, there is absolutely no need. A little bit too... No, actually, I think I'm alright. Feel the wind kicking in now. Having to put a bit of rudder in to compensate. Many of you who have seen my X-Plane videos know one of the things I love about X-Plane is the environment and how the aircraft reacts to stuff like crosswind and how natural it feels. Alright, pulling off the power now. Trying to hold it slightly nose up. Get a bit of a flare going. Not too bad actually. It still did feel like a punch. It was just a less severe punch. It was like a gut punch. Whoa. There's my brakes doing the terrifying brake thing they do. But we're down. Just taxi off here and we'll step outside and take another look. And as I said at the beginning of the video, it is a persistent aircraft, much like A2As. They seem to have borrowed a lot of inspiration from A2A. Imitation, of course, being the most sincere form of flattery, yeah, right? Oh my gosh, no! My poor guy's going to get a nosebleed any second. Let's just gently touch the brakes and he smashes his face into the dashboard. Alright, stop moving. Watch. I'm sorry, here go the airbags. Bomb. Okay, so let me put the brake on here. We'll just step outside because I didn't do any external shots while we were flying. Let's go for the just go outside bit and try to stand away from the... Oh no, I can't go outside because I don't know why. The engine's running, I guess. Let's choose one of the X-Plane's preset views. Circle view, there we go. Sounds good. The sound is phenomenal, really. Dreamfoil do a great job with their sound sets, and this one sounds perfect. Sounds just like a Cessna should. No complaints at all. Overall, though, well, if they complete their mission Airfoil Labs will have on their hands a success. That it will be the first ever study level Cessna for X-Plane, and I think X-Plane desperately needs one, and this has the potential to be that. Right now though, feels like a beta. Really does feel like a beta, albeit a late beta. There are certain things that need to be tweaked, enhanced and changed. For example, we need to get that maintenance panel in. There needs to be a manual of some kind. There is none that I could find. Maybe I just overlooked it. The stall performance does not, to me, an unqualified desktop pilot, feel realistic. Overall though, other than that, this is a great aircraft. It is fun to fly. It is accurate in terms of most of the systems and things. I guess one area it's not, again, accurate that they probably need to work on is if they're trying to follow the A2A lead, and I think they are, these. Many people don't realize that A2A's study level simulation extends to completely model how these units work. They don't seem to be accurate. See, I can click mode, I can click channel, nothing happens. You know, those need to be working. This whole avionics stack here needs to be completely accurate for this to be a study level aircraft. But it's getting there, it has potential. $35 from the X-Plane.org store. Oh my god. Thanks a lot, guys. You nearly got your wings chopped off. $35 from the X-Plane.org store. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. As always, my name is Froogle. Thank you so very much for watching, and I will see you all next time.